What I've got here today with me is a 2025 Niro EV. This one specifically is the Wind Plus. Hi folks, Aiden here from Donnelly's in Canada. Welcome to another episode of our walk around series. I want to start by showing you guys the front end. As you can see, it's a nice mineral blue color. No open grille essentially, except for down here just to add a little bit of airflow. Something you'll notice is a little bit different about the Niro is that we've got our charging setup on the front end here. We're going to get into that stuff a little bit later. Let's move on to the rest of the front end. You'll notice headlights. You've got these projection LEDs. Really cool running daytime LEDs. A little tough to catch on the camera here, but this whole white portion will light up while you're driving the car. Got your side view or side signals here. I really like this mineral blue color. There are a few other colors in the car, but it's nice to see something different from black, white, and gray. I believe some of the color options you get is black, white. You can get a really nice silver color on the car. This is one of the colors that's not a shade, I guess. And we'd also have a nice red color as well. When you're looking at it from the side, we've got a little bit better ground clearance than most of the other cars within its class. It is just a front wheel drive. However, the ground clearance is really nice to have for the wintertime. You'll notice that the wheels look a little bit different than what you'd see on a regular gas-powered car. They add a little bit more aerodynamics to it to give you increased range. Speaking of range, you'll get over 400 kilometers of full electric range on this car, which is quite impressive. On a nice hot summer day like this, you'll probably get closer to around 450. One thing that's really nice about the side view mirrors on this, and you have to check for it in every car you get, because when you're in Canada, we get pretty cold weather. These are going to be heated side view mirrors. Nice, great visibility on it. You've also got blind spot detection in them and side signal repeaters. This is going to be available in all trim levels on the Niro EV. One upgrade that you would get coming from the base model into the Wind Plus is the keyless entry system here. You can press the lock and unlock on your standard key, but you wouldn't get these little buttons here. That way, when the key's in your pocket, you can just press it quickly to lock or unlock the door for yourself. Another upgrade, since we're on the topic, would be these roof rails. A lot of people are using these cars for roof boxes, so it's nice to be able to have those in from the factory. Saves you a little bit of money in terms of accessories you'd have to buy if you were to get the base model as well. One of my favorite parts on the Niro has to be design. I think they did a really good job with the way they made this car look. It's sporty, it's sleek, and they really put a lot of effort into it. You can tell. It might be hard to see on the camera, but we've got a little bit of a vent right here that comes out here. This is a real active vent. It's not just for appearance, it's actually going to add aerodynamics to the car, create a little bit more efficiency, a little bit less drag to really stretch out the extra kilometers you get on the full electric powertrain here. You'll also notice now that we're by the rear, you've got 4 parking sensors on the back. Not something you typically see on smaller cars, so I'm really happy that Kia went ahead and did that. That's another thing that you're going to be getting from the Wind Plus and higher. Base model would not get something like that. Just another reason to upgrade. All of them also have a rear wiper. This is huge. I can't stress enough how important it is to have one of these. It's nice that you'll have that on the Niro as well. Another thing you don't see as often on small cars. Something that most people request from Kia as well is the power trunk. You can see the rear seats are folded down right now, giving you a lot of space. It's almost like you're getting the space of a hatchback, but a little bit more than that. So I'm very happy with how the design turned out in terms of cargo space. Trunk has an auto close feature, also has a really cool feature where you can just approach the trunk and it will open up all on its own. Key does need to leave range, but most of the time, coming out of the grocery store with your hands full, that'll just open up as you approach the back of the car. Since we were looking in the trunk, I might as well show you what's under the boot here. Got a lot of extra cargo space in here. This is where you're gonna find your inflation kit, your tow hooks. You've also got your level 1 charger that comes with the car. It's always good to get a level 2 installed. However, depending on your driving habits, you might be able to get away with just the level 1. All right, checking out the back seats here. I'm a pretty tall guy. I've got a solid amount of room here. One thing that's really nice on the Wind Plus that you wouldn't get on the standard Wind would be this leather cloth combo. One thing I really like about this is that in the summertime, one of the biggest complaints you get about leather is the seats get hot. This pleather that we have on here won't heat up as much, and the part here as well, the cloth is going to add just a little bit extra comfort to the seat. It kind of gets rid of that extra stiffness. Really happy with the cup holders back here, and obviously you can fold those away and maybe squeeze a third back here. That might be a little bit tricky though. From the back here, one of the biggest complaints people get is they can't charge their phone. They have nowhere to charge it. Over if you look on the back of the driver's seat as well as on the passenger seat, you're going to get a USB-C port there. And rear ventilation. This is another one that's a pet peeve of mine. Smaller cars, you don't typically see rear ventilation. So at least it's something that Kia went ahead and thought about. Only other thing I can point out back here in terms of design is what they've done with the back of the seats here. My girlfriend loves to carry a purse around with her. This is a nice spot where we can kind of drape it over the back of the seat, prevents it from falling over in the back or sort of congesting us up front with too much stuff up there. One of the first things that you're going to do when you get into a new car is definitely adjust everything. We've got the adjustment on the seats here. It is a power seat for this model. When you go up one trim, you'll get the memory seats. This one has the power seats. Base model is just going to be a manual adjustment. They also added lumbar support in here, which is nice for your back, especially on a long drive. I'll hop in here. I'll show you on the door panel here. This is where you're going to be adjusting your mirrors. Super simple, pretty straightforward, same as every other car. You got left, right adjustments. It's all going to be power adjustments as well. And you'll notice that this button here for the window looks a little bit different. That's because we're going to have an automatic open and close for the driver's side window. Next adjustment you'd be doing would be the steering wheel. It's telescopic. You can go up and down, you can go in and out, really get that sweet spot for the adjustments. And your mirror up here is just a standard flip. So you can prevent people from blinding you. You know, the big trucks with the big LEDs on it. So that'll prevent you from getting blinded. Interior lighting is all going to be just your halogen bulbs. It's a little bit softer on the eyes at nighttime as well. So I like that. From the driver's seat, it's an electric car and it's a Kia. So we're going to have a lot of features in this car, but they really simplified it. They made it really easy to understand. The user interface and sort of the specifics on that is really, really easy. First thing you'll notice is the steering wheel. You have some paddles in the back here. These are not paddle shifters. We don't have a transmission in this car. This is going to be for changing your regenerative braking, which I'm going to go over a little bit later. In terms of stuff on the front of the steering wheel, we have cruise control, which is adaptive on this model and the top model. You've also got a little button here to adjust the pages for your cluster. You can toggle on and off your lane centering, and then some assistance here for voice control, radio control, as well as answering and hanging up phone calls. You've got a few different drive modes on this car. You can access that from the steering wheel, so you don't really need to take your eyes off the road. You'll have an eco mode. Obviously, it's going to get you the most range. Normal is your factory settings. It's going to sort of fall within the averages. And then sport mode. You can really take advantage of that instant torque that electric motors have. And you'll see this car is a lot peppier than you would expect. In terms of behind the steering wheel now, obviously we have our front wipers and our rear wiper adjustment. We've got our automatic headlights paired with automatic high beams that you'll get on every single model as well. Over here, we can adjust the brightness. So you can, I guess at nighttime, you can make it a little bit darker if you find it's a little harsh on the eyes. And controls for your traction control as well as your power trunk. If you're like me and you have a water bottle in the car with you all the time, you'll know that sometimes your water bottle won't fit in the cup holders. Kia thought ahead with that and added adjustable sizes for your cup holders. If you take the bigger bottle, you can fit it in there, and let's say you switch back to your smaller bottle, you can always press that button and have that readjust itself. In terms of stuff down here, I am really falling in love with these dial shifters. It just adds a little bit more space for movement here. You can really reach towards your wireless phone charger that you'll have on this model and the higher model as well. It's really easy to understand. Go into park, you press the P, put your foot on the brake, and you can adjust yourself into drive or reverse. You'll see that this car has 3 levels of heated seats, so you can really find that sweet spot. Heated steering wheel on this model and the higher model as well. Auto hold is something that you'll get used to, just holds the car in place when you're off the brakes. Pretty much everything has an electronic parking brake now. You've also got a button here to toggle on and off your backup camera. Obviously the camera will still come on when you put the car in reverse, but it's a little bit safer to check what's going on behind you without putting the car in reverse. You've got that option to just pull it up for yourself. I'm sure you know in the wintertime, we get a lot of slush on the cars here. Sometimes that can cause your parking sensors to trigger when there's nothing really behind you or in front of you. You have the option here to turn them off until you have the opportunity to get out of the car and adjust it. You'll know it's off when that little orange light disappears. When I move up into this section here, I already explained that you got a wireless phone charger here. You've got a couple different USB ports. This one's mostly for charging. This one will allow you to access your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Puts your navigation and such right on the screen. Since we're on the topic of navigation, there is integrated nav in this car. You've got the option to pull up your maps from this bar here, or the option to press navigation and select the point of interest, like a home address if you've saved it in the system. Now, a lot of people ask me, Aiden, how do I turn on the air conditioning? How do I turn on the heat in the car? How do I adjust all that? I don't see it anywhere. Well, Kia's thought there's a lot of buttons that are already going to be in the car. One thing to sort of reduce the congestion of buttons up here is they made this section have a toggle switch. So right now we're on the operating system. So for example, my knob is for volume for the radio or tuning. If I press this little fan here, now we've swapped into our climate control, which is where I can control my heat pump, which I'll explain a little bit later as well. I can adjust my fan levels, turn on the air conditioning, and this model, as well as the top model, will have dual zone climate control. So my passenger and I can have different temperatures if needed. So the next part is probably the most intricate part of the Kias. It would be our infotainment system. This is what your home screen will look like when you start the car. You'll have your date and time and whatever media is playing. Really cool little Easter egg on this car as well is this little map snippet here is actually from the navigation. This isn't just a randomly generated picture. It's actually going to show you where you are on the map. If I swipe over, this is going to show us some of the many apps on the car. Most of it's going to be settings, radio. You can view your different EV ranges. For example, I click the EV tab. Shows me I'm at 98% battery right now with the climate control on and everything the way I have it set. I'll get just under 400 kilometers of range. Obviously, that's without any sort of regeneration taken into account. You'll probably get more like 415 with the climate settings I have on now. If I go back here, you'll see that there's a little photo icon up here. What that's for is profiles. If you're not the only person driving this car, you can set up your own profile, save your own settings. That way, for example, if I prefer a different warning method for my blind spot detection, if I prefer an audio warning, I can set that up in the system. However, if my girlfriend prefers just a visual warning, that way she can have it set. She gets in the car, loads up her profile. All of her settings will be remembered and saved in the car as well. Other apps that we'd have on the car, map and navigation is the same buttons I showed you earlier. You can obviously connect your phone to it. You can make phone calls. You can have the audio of the text messages read out to you. You can set up CarPlay. You get $1 million idea when you're driving. You can actually save voice memos in the car. If I swipe over, you'll see there's a few other options here. You have an electronic user manual. Saves you from having to go over 400 pages in one of the paper books. You can also connect this car with Kia Connect. Allows you to control the car a little bit from your phone. Use an auto starter from any range. Plan your charging, set your car up to trickle charge. There's quite a bit that can be done through that application. Another thing you'll notice on this is that Kia has moved into a lot of textile sort of panels in the car. For example, the dash here has a really cool touch to it. You've got ambient lighting on the inside. You can't really see it because it's daytime now. However, this will light up different colors based on the options you've selected in the settings you've set up in the car. You'll notice on the door panels on the side there, really cool design for where the speakers are, and you'll get a lot of piano black accents where you get that sort of shiny glossy black on the door panels there as well. So here at Donnelly's, we're lucky to have one of the fast chargers. Ours is by Bosch. You'll notice the difference here because we have actually 2 ports on it. You'll notice that the Niro, when I open up the charging port in the front of the car here, has those 2 ports. It's compatible with the fast charger. The difference in charging times is days, not just hours. On a level 1 charger, it's going to take 54 hours from 0% all the way to full. Most of the time, you won't let it go to 0. This guy is going to charge it much, much, much faster. All right, so we had to switch spots because somebody needed our charger. We're a pretty busy dealership. So we're going to use the regular level 2 here. I'll bring you over and I'll show you just how easy it is to set this car up to charge. Simply come up to the front. You'll want to make sure the car is unlocked. If you ever find that this isn't opening, it's because the car is locked. So I have already unlocked the car. I push into it, it unlocks it. Open it up. You'll see right now this does have a full charge or close to full already. This is a good indication of how long it's going to take for your car to charge. For this one, I only need to open up the top port because it's not the fast charger. I just plug it right in. You'll hear it click into place. Now you'll notice that sometimes the car is not going to start charging until you lock it. So you'll want to make sure you lock it. And there we go, charging is started. Kia's electric cars are getting more and more advanced as time goes on. On average, you're gonna get between 400 and 400 kilometers on a single charge. The reason why the range is more than 10% between that is because we have pretty crazy weather here. Sometimes it's really cold and we're blasting the heat. That's gonna reduce your range. Sometimes it's really warm, it's nice and sunny, and maybe we're only using the AC or the windows are down. That's gonna increase our range, make it a little bit easier, and we'll get closer to around 450 kilometers of range. All right, let's take it on a quick test drive. Obviously, we're gonna need a license plate on the back here. Walk up to the back, get it opened up. You can stop it in its tracks by pressing the button quickly. Press the second time, it'll close on its own. All right, let's hit the road. So you can see I've got the backup camera with the guidelines. And if for some reason I can't see that, your parking sensors with different ranges will tell you how close you're getting. All right. Well, the steering is really responsive. Feels really good. It almost feels like I'm driving a sedan that's a little bit higher off the ground. Let this gentleman pass. And it's very quiet. That's one thing. Some cars idle very loud. There's no engine in this car, so it's going to idle quite quietly. All right, let's get on the road. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us onto the highway quick, just so I can explain the feeling on how it accelerates. So as I let go of the throttle, the car will almost feel like it's pressing the brakes a little bit on its own. That's your regenerative braking. I can increase that by pressing the button on the left here. That's going to be the increase button, all the way to the point where I can activate something called I-pedal. A lot of people know this as one pedal driving. It'll actually come to a complete stop without me pressing the brake. All I have to do is release the throttle. I prefer to drive these cars similar to a gas car. I haven't fully immersed myself in the I-pedal feature, so I keep the settings much, much lower. And that way I'll get very little to no resistance as I let go of the throttle. It's gonna feel just like your regular gas-powered car. Another thing might be tough to see on the camera, but the blind spots aren't too bad in this car. I don't feel like I'm ever unable to see a car when I turn my head, but having the blind spot detection in the mirror makes it a lot safer. It'll pair that blind spot detection with something I'm gonna show you on the highway with the lane centering. It'll add some collision avoidance features. All right, kick it into sport mode so we can really get a feel for the acceleration. All right, here we go. No police. Kidding. And you'll see, whoa, that's fast. And just like that, we're up to highway speeds. That was borderline instant. Having that extra torque from the electric motor really just gets the car moving from a standstill and adds the passing power that you would typically not expect from a smaller car like this. And in my opinion, having passing power is going to be a lot safer on the roads. Something I'd love to show you now is your lane centering. Now, you're not supposed to take your hands completely off the wheel. It'll actually warn you to put them back on. As long as it receives some input or it can feel your hands on the wheel, it's actually going to trace the lines on the road. So just for the sake of the video, I'm going to hover my hands over the steering wheel, and you'll notice that we're staying within our lane. We're not in the ditch. We're not falling off the road. We're perfectly center in our lane. That's really, really, really nice on a long drive, especially if I pair that with my adaptive cruise control. It's almost like self-driving. It's not something that I would say you should do and just mindlessly drive. However, if you're on a long ride, sometimes it can be a little more enjoyable. Braking feels pretty much the exact same. I wouldn't say there's any differences. Feels just like you'd expect on a regular car. However, something that might be tough to see, I guess, while I'm driving for the camera is that you'll have, instead of an RPM meter where you're, I guess, displayed how quickly your engine is running, you'll have what's called a power and charge meter. Power, when you're in the power section of the vehicle, it's going to be using energy. When you're in the charge section, you're going to be replenishing that energy. So as I press the throttle, you'll notice that the bar will go up into the power side, but as I press the brakes, you're going to get that going, dipping down into the charge section. That's how you know whether or not you're increasing range or I guess spending some of that range you have left. Getting back on the highway, I'm going to switch it back to eco mode just so I can get a difference in feel for the power. Most people who buy these cars are going to be driving in eco mode. You're buying an electric car most of the time to go further, spend less money. That's the whole point of these. Power output is significantly different, I would say. However, it's not underpowered whatsoever. I wouldn't be worried about passing or not passing somebody on the highway. while I'm in eco mode. One thing that's nice is it's similar to a gas-powered car where you put your pedal to the floor and you're almost in what they used to call a passing gear. That means it just drops a gear or two to give you that extra power output. Obviously, there's no gears in this car, but the system's smart enough to know that if you're putting your pedal to the floor, you want to go a little bit faster. So that's the way that the car is going to operate. It's quite smooth. I'm not typically a fan of electric cars. I'm more about loud, big engines, so it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum for me. However, what really intrigues me about these is definitely how smooth it is and the power delivery. That beeping you just heard was my blind spot detection telling me somebody might be in my blind spot. One thing that's really cool is when you have your lane keep assist on, it's designed to keep you within the lines. However, if I signal, it's going to deactivate that. But if somebody is in my blind spot and I try to change lanes and merge into them, my lane keep assist is going to pair with the collision avoidance features to give me a little bit of resistance trying to change lanes. And it'll tell me, oh, Aiden, wait a second, there's somebody in your blind spot that you didn't see. So all sorts of different ways to help prevent collisions and sort of mitigate the, I guess, backlash of almost getting into one. So I feel very comfortable too. It being a smaller car and me being a little bit taller, I thought that maybe I would be uncomfortable in here. But I've got a lot of space. I still have more room to go back. I can still bring the seat higher. I can still sit it lower. I'm quite comfortable. Final thoughts, I'm impressed. It's a small car with a lot of bite. It's great for the bank account. It's going to save you a lot of fuel. If you're the kind of person who goes on minimal road trips, this would be the car for you. You can still take the car on long road trips. If you're typically the person who drives out to Toronto or Montreal, you shouldn't have any issues. There's going to be most likely the chance where you're going to have to stop and charge the car, but the infrastructure for electric cars is improving every single day. I also have plenty of my previous customers or guests that have purchased electric cars, and a lot of them maybe even rent a gas car to go on those longer trips. There's benefits to whatever way you want to do it. I think this car will suit a lot more people than they would expect. I think what's important is getting people inside it, driving it, feeling that it drives and is as familiar as a gas car would be. A lot of people are afraid to get into electric car because they feel like it's something completely different and they're not comfortable with it, they're not used to it. But Kia's sort of simplified the process. I remember the first time I got into an electric car, I won't mention any names, it felt very foreign when I got into it. I didn't know how to put the car into drive, it drove different, it felt weird, it didn't feel like I was driving a car. This feels like I'm just driving any ordinary car, just with a little bit smoother power delivery. Comment down below and let me know what you thought of the video. If you think I missed anything or maybe I said something wrong, mistakes happen, leave us a comment, let us know, and we'll reply to every single one. So we're just about to pull back into the dealership now. A couple things I want to mention before I go. Don't forget to comment down below. We have a $50 gas card we're going to be giving out to somebody who has liked, subscribed, and commented on the video. If you're interested in seeing one of these cars or just popping in to learn a little bit more about it, you can reach me at 613-793-1053. Again, this is Aiden from Donnelly's in Canada. Thanks for visiting our walk around series.